It's Money Monday here on Everyday Iowa. Our friend Nick Glew from Farmers State Bank is back. Nick, the greater Cedar Rapids area is really booming right now. There's a lot of momentum. So what makes the Cedar Rapids community so special?
Well, I think while we are one of the faster growing suburban areas really in the Midwest, urban and suburban, I think what makes us so special is just we really people have this desire to connect with the places they live, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's supporting a local business, a local restaurant, a local retail store, or just connecting with their neighbors through kids activities, through a walk in the park. It's this true feeling of community that I think makes this place special. And I think the business community as a whole kind of buys into that energy, and great things happen as a result.
So when local business owners come to Farmers State Bank, what questions come up the most?
It's interesting. Sometimes maybe what business owners just don't know, right? I think our job as lenders, as community bankers, is to not just be the person that helps figure out the tool, the loan that they might take out, the checking account they might use to help manage their cash flow. We really want to be that full advisor. Right? So I always think it's interesting that when we meet with people, it might be 4 or 5 meetings in before we actually talk about the specific dollars and cents around a project. We want to get to know people. We want to help them think about, well, what are you really passionate about? Someone might come to us and want to buy a business, and that's the number one thing that I try to understand is, does this really align with what you're passionate about? Or is it just the idea that I want to own a business and I'm going to do it, right? So we really try and help to coach people to make sure that maybe a business they're looking to buy is a good fit.
Right.
And from there, we can equip them with the tools that they actually need and the plan that they actually need to be successful. But we just really love getting to know people and making it not just about a transaction, but really about a relationship.
You're kind of a matchmaker too then in that aspect,
It is,
right?
I feel like in so many ways that community bankers are brokers almost.
Yeah.
Like, well, can we connect you with this person? Can we connect you with this supplier? Oh, I know this lady, I know this guy. And that's really the beauty of the relationship-based banking that community banks and Farmers State Bank in particular the path that we help to lead our clients down.
What local businesses do you see growing the most, or what types of businesses
Well,
growing the most?
as you would know in the headlines, the data centers are really catching the attention of folks, and they have a ripple effect really throughout our local economy. So we know that for developers and customers that own multifamily housing projects, apartments, right? They're full because of the amount of workers that projects like that are attracting. We know that subcontractors, people that work in the trades, are busy, busy, busy. They talk about work for years to come. And it's really that ripple effect of those larger projects out there. So, that's one dynamic that is really strong right now. And it's interesting in how many different sectors or how many different places in our lives, even for those of us that maybe we're not working at a data center, maybe we're not financing a data center project, but the supply chain, the subcontractors, the local restaurants, that has really been a boost to our local economy. And then I also think about just local businesses in general. And I talked about this earlier. I think in this area, people have a natural slant towards locally owned businesses.
They do.
And, whether it's local restaurants, again, whether it's a local coffee roasting business, right? People want to support local. And I think those businesses are the ones that are thriving right now.
Yeah. And I feel like that's really changed in the past, maybe 20 years or like post-flood, post-derecho, that people are really focusing on the local, where back in the 90s, I felt like they were more like, hey, franchise.
Yeah,
I
think that's very fair. It's so fun to be sitting at a local restaurant talking with folks about, well, have you tried this place? Have you tried that place? Usually your national franchises aren't in that conversation because people want experience, right? People want environment. They want good local food. We're talking about food, but it applies to other different types of businesses. This metro area is a really cool place to be.
It is. You touched on this a little bit, but what are some practical ways that Farmers State Banks helps the small businesses with like cash flow and expansion?
Yeah, when you talk about cash flow, when you talk about expansion, oftentimes we're leaning into making sure that a business owner has a plan.
Right.
And that's before we talk about alone. So we're helping them understand their different revenue sources. We're helping them dig through their pro forma, which a pro forma is basically a projection, right? Something that they think a business plan is going to play out this way. You know, we really like sitting down with people and just almost like you're asking questions of me, just asking them questions about, well, what could happen here? Tell me more about this. And it's really just leading a customer through that process where they themselves are continuing to learn. They themselves are uncovering the what could happen or what should I be worried about scenarios. You know, it's a lot of just, again, almost going down that journey collectively with a business owner. It's a discovery process. Sometimes it's not rocket science, but I'd really just encourage people, if you don't have a relationship with a commercial banker, a local commercial community banker, even if you don't have a project today, but you have a mind that you think, I would love to open a business someday. I would love to buy a business someday. Reach out and grab a cup of coffee, right? Because again, we want to be advisors for people even before they maybe have that project in front of them, so that they can be prepared, they can plan, and they can be ready to execute when that time comes.
And you said you were local, which is nice.
We are. Farmers State Bank, locally owned company. In fact, next year, Farmers State Bank will celebrate 100 years in business, which there are very few businesses that say that nowadays, and we're excited to do that. Headquartered in Uptown Marion with 7 locations across the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids corridor region.
And where can people contact you and get more information?
Yeah, go to our website, myfsbonline.com. Like I said, reach out to a commercial banker. If you haven't, go to the business section of our website. You can see the commercial lending team, and there you can reach out to myself or any one of our commercial lenders.
Always good to have you here, Nick.
Great to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.